he's fine. But still, that's how it is, and it's how it is, rightly so. You have to go to different stages, and that means he is available for non-contact training on Monday and full contact training on Tuesday, if everything goes well until then. And that's what we expect, because he was actually yesterday already good.
We saw the impact that Darwin made when he came on the substitute the other night. It's 5 goals in his last 7 now, and he seems to be someone who seems more certain of himself, more sure of his role in the side, and that confidence and the progression seems to be improving week by week. I mean, what difference are you seeing in him at the minute in his all-round game?
Yeah, big steps, and still space for improvement, because the boy is an incredible package. But you could see immediately he's a real threat in the finishing area, involved in a lot of things. That's why you then realize how few big chances he missed. Imagine he would have scored from them as well. So he's involved in pretty much everything. He's always an option to pass to cross the ball, to these kind of things. He came on, didn't play extremely long, but involved in both goals, which is good. And yeah, so big steps, absolutely.
The season so far has been contrast. You look at your 5 consecutive wins in the Champions League. You've beaten the form team in Europe in midweek. You've beaten City twice this season as well. When you take all that into account, how big a moment do you feel this is in the season? Because you've got the opportunity to follow up a win in the week, the way you bounce back from those 2 defeats in the Premier League. You've got the chance now to close the gap on Spurs to 7 points, and it feels like it could be a big moment, a big opportunity to build a little bit of momentum going towards that international.
Yeah, big game for us, massive game for us, and difficult as well. Spurs away. Yeah, everything you said is right. So I didn't count now the points distance between us and them, but it's we cannot be picky with opponents and games, and where we want to get points, we have to go for it, definitely. But it's difficult. We all know that Tottenham is a side that's well organized, defending extremely high level. So and counter-attacking is a massive thing now. The last 2 games we had to chase the game, and we saw the offensive power as well. So I think Spurs puts in a good moment. So they had turned now 2 important games around in the last minute, and especially the last one was a really big one for Tottenham. And so we are prepared for a confident, strong opponent.
Tottenham was your first ever game, I think, wasn't it, for Liverpool? You've done relatively well against them over the last, I think you've beaten in 9 now. So that one before the 9, that was the game at Wembley that seemed, it doesn't feel like it's a million miles away maybe from now in terms of good Champions League games either side, and then maybe it's a blip, and then it seemed to be around that time. Can you see any similarities from that sort of period to now in terms of doing really well and then a blip, and then just to put things into perspective?
You mean when we lost 4-0 or what?
4-1 at Wembley.
Oh, 4-1.
And
Mo scored.
Mo scored, yeah. The first half.
One of the 400 goals he scored against Tottenham in a 4-1. Yeah, I took Dejan off. You had that really research, huh? But I remember that as well, by the way, because I had Dejan the next day in the office. But I asked him to come in, not did he knocked on my door. Thank God I cannot feel anymore what happened 4 years or whenever it was ago. But the situation, what we have is, so like we see what we are capable of doing in specific ways, really big games, good games, stuff like this. But then it's a lot of games, and we have to always to freak a little bit who can play again, who is not aware. But it's not. It was never now like, yeah, same lineup again. Come on, let's go from here. So I don't think we had that chance a lot of times. These kind of things. So that's why it's probably. But I can't remember that what was around this game, to be honest. But it's like this: if you are not consistent, then there's always a reason for it, and very often it's a reason with availability. who can you play, how often can they play, blah blah blah, all these kind of things, and that's one, not the only, but one of the reasons why we are not consistent. If it was that time as well, then there are similarities. If not, then not. So we are. The problem is with if you to explain wins. It's really easy because nobody listens really, because everyone's in a great mood and it's like you're just smiling and it's good shape. Explaining when you lose is much more difficult because each word is really important, but it's that you cannot, or at least I don't have 5 million different words for it. If you want to get out of something, you first have to get through it, and that's where we are. So, and it might take time, but it doesn't mean we don't say now Tottenham is too early for us to really show up already. No, it's not. We are there. We go there and want to be at our best 100%. But sitting here now and being 1000% convinced, yes, and we will. What I can tell you, it never was before going to Tottenham that I thought, good moment to face Tottenham, let's smash them. It was never the case. It's a difficult place to go, a really good team, extremely well coached, and a real fighting unit. So there are no friendly games against them. Antonio's on his toes, on the sideline. The players are in challenges and blah blah blah, all these kind of things. So it will be a tough one. But that's what we actually all want. It's like a Champions League game in the Premier League. And that's how we will approach it.
You know, in terms of when you said nobody listens when you win, do you mean us?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can now say you generally don't.
And does that mean
listen.
you have to be more careful in terms of what you say with every word, or?
I cannot. No, not careful. I'm not sure if I should be more careful. No, it's not about that. It's just like I can imagine that people in a phase like this, it takes a bit longer. So always the same, fighting and doing this and again and these kind of things. Yeah, sorry. Without fighting, we shouldn't even try. Yes, we have to fight through this. That's the case. That's how it is. You cannot play through it. You cannot say now, by the way, forget the defending stuff. Let's just circle around them and these kind of things. Pass the ball through them. Nutmegs here, back heels there. That's not how it works. So, and that's why we are in the mood we are. And it's absolutely okay. And of course, that it's rather good that in between you lose against Leeds, and I couldn't have felt worse. No chance. But then you play a good game against a team in form, and that gives you a lift. That's normal, completely. Bam, here we go. And now we play Tottenham, and now we try to make sure that we feel like after the Napoli game.